Hello, beautiful soul. This is Galitta. Thank you for being here. I'm so happy that we're meeting again. And my question is today is what will happen if you will become a cheerleader for your inner child? Inner child, cheerleader. Did you know you have an inner child? Did you know that you have a lot of inner children? And that you know that this force inside yourself, this archetype inside yourself is returning you to the innocence and the purity of your soul. So first, if the answer is yes, if you are a cheerleader for your inner child, congratulations. But are they inner children you're not aware of? Because that's what happened to me. I discovered that I had an inner child that was so enraged. The work I did with it was so powerful and profound. I'm going to tell it to you soon. And I did it through the method of working with subpersonalities. And that opened to me a new world, because for years I knew that I have somewhere anger, but I didn't feel it. I could not connect the anger. I didn't feel any anger. But when I did this work and I allowed that to come out, I released something that I didn't even know. So I thought I was a cheerleader for my inner child because I'm a cheerleader for the positive, easy inner children and for everybody else's inner child. But I still had some neglected, full of rage, shadow inner child that needed my attention. Okay, so here we are comfortable, and I would like us really to go into the subject of inner child, because it sounds psychological, but it is actually so profound in coming in contact with this part of us that needs our attention. So I would like to share with you a personal story, and then if you would like, I would like us to do a little bit of a dive in to see if you can come into contact and improve something. Around 2 months ago, I had very hard time. I really came into a crisis with everything, and I felt stuck. And I can tell you from now on, when you feel stuck, it means there's a resistance to something. Everything went wrong. I felt financially and in relationship and with my work, and I was so stressed, walking around stressed. And I went like, oh my God, I'm not doing that again. There's some things I keep repeating and I'm so tired of it. Do you recognize that? So I thought, okay, it was 4 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes when I wake up at these hours, it's a really, really wonderful time to go and do deep healing, because the veil is very thin. We can connect deeply. So I was doing this healing with myself, going to talk to the part of myself that feels stuck, which is a technique I hope you will use because it's so powerful. And what happened is that I suddenly saw myself at the age of 7 in the house I grew up in, and I thought, what? That's a little bit too much on the nose. Because usually when I do personality work, it's always different characters, different, our subconscious mind communicate with pictures and archetypes, and it helps us understand things in this way. And I saw myself and I thought, okay, I'll go along with it. And I was very conscious about what I said in the last video, which is so important, not to look at it only mentally from my rational mind. I don't judge if she should be sad or not. I feel what I feel. So then I saw myself, and she felt very ignored and not existing, unrecognized. Now I want to say something very important. Sometimes when we start to understand ourselves, and we understand our programming, we understand our childhood, we understand the adults that were around us, we can go into a point where we start to blame. My mother didn't tell me, my father was legal. And it's very important to understand that when you are born into this life, by definition, you are born to imperfect people, because nobody's perfect. Also you, when you will be a parent, you will not be perfect. The part of the soul is to experience something, and you choose your parents before you were born. I experienced, I don't know what you believe, but you choose the people around you that will help you master something. And you can learn it in a positive way or in a negative way. You can learn what love is through a parent who doesn't love you, and you learn what it is. It's very powerful stuff. So when we start to talk about inner children, what I had is that I didn't want to say bad thing about anyone, so I ignored that part. But this is not what we are doing when we are connecting to a wounded or sad or upset or whatever inner child. We are allowing that part of ourselves to come out of the shadows, so it's not going to bother us the rest of our life. Because if you are trying to ignore it and pretend it's not there, it will come and bite you in the butt in the worst moment possible. So you want to take things from your subconscious mind into your conscious mind, because then you can choose to treat it with your heart and then to help it evolve. And when it's evolving, it's just beautiful. So after a few days, I still felt that I was in resistance. And I thought, okay, so what I was doing with this inner child, this compassionate connection, is not enough. There's still something. So then I did a meditation, which I'll do with you later, how to go and talk to this particular parts of me that needs attention. So I'm going down into a lower place, and I come into kind of a lecture hall. And I'm in the position of the lecture stand, and in front of me tribunes of lots of chairs where they are full of people, different kind of people, all different aspects of our subpersonality. In my case, it was full of different kind of people. And I am saying, I'm standing in front of them, and I'm saying, I want to talk to the part of me that wants to talk to me. I didn't think it will be the same inner child or something. I just left it open. Whoever is responsible for me being agitated, angry, and not motivated to move, please come forward. I would like to talk to you. It's a very good way to correspond with your subpersonality. So then I see a movement. So there is somebody coming. And I'm starting to go into the backstage. It's part of the method, a technique to go into the room where I'm going to be sitting there and talk with my subpersonality. But the thing is that this person that came to join me is, I can hear steps going like, poof, poof. And I realize that with every step, this thing becomes bigger. It's very interesting sensation. So I'm going into another room, and I really feel that this person I invited to come to talk to me is like walking, shaking almost the building with every step, and it's growing. So I go into the room I wanted to go, and I go like, no, it's too small. I am continuing to go to a bigger room, and I go like, no, it's too big. And I really feel that this thing that's coming is a bit scary. I literally feel scared, and it's giant, because from the steps I can hear that it's just growing with every step coming after me. So I'm going into a bigger room, and I go like, oh, this room is too small. And then I come into airplane building, that's giant. And I think, okay, here we can talk. This thing that is behind me, my bird clock is birding. So I go into this airplane place, and that person is behind me, and then I realize it's a very angry, and when I look into the back, I see a girl, but in a size of a giant, wearing black and white clothes and shoes like a doll, and she's in the size of a 5-story building. So I am panicking. I don't think I ever happened to me when I worked with subpersonality that I felt like, oh my God, I can almost not handle what's happening. But of course, it's all your imagination in a way. It's all a world that you have the total mastery of it. You can decide to stop, to go. It's like in a dream world, but conscious. So then I take her through this airplane building, and I go out of there, because that was even too small, into a giant amphitheater, really kind of Roman amphitheater. When you do this process, you don't know what you're going to see. You think it's your imagination, but it's not your imagination. It's the field's imagination. It's the one mind of creation. So you are yourself surprised from where you're going, which is very exciting. And that's also the source of all creation, of course. Okay, I'm digressing. So then I'm going into the amphitheater, and that giant doll child is so mad. She starts to slam all of the stone tribunes, and I realize she is mad. She is mad. She is so angry, and there's nothing I can do but let her express, because if she would listen to me, I will say, what do you want to say? And she was already showing me what she's going to say, and she just walking around and breaking all of the tribunes, smashing the amphitheater, and then she goes into the middle of the amphitheater and hit the floor and create a giant hole in the middle of the amphitheater and I know it from another client that I had that had lots of anger, which I thought I'm not that kind of person, but she had a lot of anger. And it took a long time for her to release this through imagination. You don't really have to break your own house. You can also do it in imagination, because it's the same energy. Your mind doesn't know the difference. You can, break or hit the pillow, but you can also hit the pillow in your imagination and break a porcelain room if you want. So I did that with her. So I did the same now with myself. And I myself was surprised how much anger was in this giant doll-looking child. So there was a big hole in the amphitheater, and I could start to see that she started to slow down, and more that she took her rage, more smaller she became, until she became a little bit my size. And then she was still mad, she was still angry. So I gave her a hammer. So she started to break the stones. So it was less damaging because it was a small hammer, and she was still. And I was lying in my bed. I think it was like 15 minutes when she was breaking stuff, and I was sobbing in my bed. And that night, my husband was not next to me, so that was lucky, because it was interesting to see and to feel in myself things I thought I don't have. Now, years ago, and I wrote it also in my book, that I with everything what I went through, somebody said there is a lot of anger there. And I thought, I could not get in touch with any anger in myself. And I worked on different levels, and I could not find that anger. For some people, it's very easy. Later I realized, because it's very easy for my mother to be angry, and I saw that as a bad example, I kind of didn't allow myself to be angry, to be an angry person. But now this inner child of myself was breaking the amphitheater, people, for a long time. And I was just crying and crying and crying while I'm watching what's happening. And my guides are saying to me that tears are breaking the walls around the heart. I think it's a quote of Rumi, the poet, and that's the healing. It's the healing. It doesn't come when you just realize, oh my God, I have anger. I realize when you're feeling the letting go, the acknowledging this child. I will analyze it later, but on the moment, this child was angry. And when she continued hitting and became smaller and she became a person I could talk to, she didn't look black and white like a doll. She looked like a beautiful child. And that was a beautiful experience. And all this crying that I was doing while I was watching and acknowledging my own anger and my own frustration and my own pain, that was the most amazing healing. What I like about the subpersonality work is that when you come into a point where your subpersonality show you their pain, show you their frustrations, show you their you allow them to become whatever they want, because they don't have to be stuck, frozen in time anymore. So when I asked this girl, what does she want? First, there was a lot of love, because when you do this work, you become the mother, father, healer of your own subpersonality, because that's where the healing comes from, of total forgiveness, total love, unconditional love, unconditional love. So when I asked her, what does she want? She suddenly took me into a club from the 1920s with Jugendstil style. And she turned herself into a very elegant singer. And she just wanted to sing her song with her. You cannot make these things up. It's your imagination showing you stuff that you go on. Later you can go, oh, look, maybe I can analyze it. But it's not important. The experience, this creation of connecting to different aspects of yourself, is healing you to become much more loving and compassionate and healthy person. But it's also very creative and very exciting. And I would not want to live in any other way than that. So while she was in the club singing with her beautiful yellow dress in this Jugendstil place, I said goodbye to her. And I realized that it was just before I went to visit my family. I realized that it changed something. But in the visit that the last video I made was just before I went. The way that I managed my relationship with my mother and with my father and with people I didn't see for 35 years was totally changed since my inner child was there. Because there was a part of me that was missing, because she was too rageful to be in my consciousness. And after I got connected to this beautiful, my own feeling and rage, I had a moment with my mother when my mother did something which I recognize as a pattern, which now I'm too conscious to fall into the same thing. I'm not playing the same game. I've changed. And while I was listening to my mother and also saying to her, I'm not doing this, I felt like this child of mine, the one that I now integrated back into my psyche as a healthy inner child, I was saying to her, oh, that's how you grew up, with this, almost difficult to say, emotional blackmail. I could acknowledge my own child while I was talking to my mother, and then without any fuss, I just changed the pattern, because I went like, let's do it in another way. Because I can see on a higher point of view that my mother maybe is trapped in the same pattern, but I'm not. I can liberate myself. And by not playing along, I can liberate her. So that's why I'm saying that working with your inner child and become a cheerleader to it is very powerful. I want to tell you another little story about another inner child of mine, just that it maybe will give you an example now when we will go into a little process for you to connect to your inner child, what can happen. One time, that was really long time ago when I just started this work. So when I started this work, then you come, there is a lots of things that were not touched for generations. centuries. And one time I asked to connect to a part of me that needed my attention. And then I found myself in a dungeon, a really horrific place of darkness and cold and damp and mold. And I went into the room where I felt I can find that person I was looking for. And I found it was the first time that I actually heard that word that I was not aware of in English, that was diseased. It was a diseased child, and it was such a bad state this child was, in the most horrific place, with malnutrition and all the sicknesses. And the moment, and of course it's all symbolic, because there is not really a real diseased child in the cellar of myself, but there is. It's not in my life, but it's in my psyche. So going into that child, I took it in my arms. I covered it with blankets because it was like a skeleton and it was cold. And I took it up back into the sun, and I took care of it until it became, I don't remember what it became then, but it was, I think he chose to become a person that, how do you call it, water sport. It's like he turned when I asked him to turn himself to what he would like, he became a really physical, athletic, water sport athletic person. You can never imagine those things, but your psyche knows. So that was one inner child of mine that I turned from wholly diseased person, such a terrible word, into a healthy, vibrant, and that's, I believe, how we kind of heal ourselves. And when we heal ourselves, it immediately goes into our family lines and into the field. It's very powerful. Okay, I hope this story was not too long, but I would like to take you on a short journey where you yourself will go and meet an inner child of yours. Would you like that? Wouldn't it be great? Because there must be something at this moment in your life that doesn't work. And if you feel that you cheerleader of your own inner child, you have no idea what it means, let's do a little process of transformation that we'll see what comes, and then see if you can liberate parts of you that will benefit your life and your thinking and your feeling. So get yourself ready. The only thing you need to do is to take a minute, sit outside, sit inside, lie down somewhere where nobody will bother you, and we will take a short guided meditation to meet our inner child that needs our attention. Isn't it beautiful? I would love you so much to have parts of you coming into liberation. So I will not talk anymore, and now let's go to the guided meditation. Let's take a journey to connect to one of our inner children that needs our attention. It will benefit our lives by taking that part from the shadow into the light. So find a place to sit where you're not going to be disturbed, or lie down. Breathe. Become aware of your breath, allowing yourself to journey into your inner world, into your inner kingdom, to connect to a sub-personality, a part of us that needs our ear, our love, our healing. Be aware of your body. your feet, your left hand, your forehead, the area of your heart. Now imagine yourself to be in a beautiful park with hills, with different sections where there are animals in one place, paths to walk in the forest in one place, places with grass, orchard with fruit trees, a lake, and just imagine the freedom you have to walk in this beautiful place, to see children play, people swim, the sun is shining, there are flowers everywhere, there's optimism feeling in the air. And allow yourself to walk into an area of this huge, gigantic park where there is a really big house. Very magical house. It's designed beautifully, like a fairy tale, with interesting designs and colors. Trees and animals outside of the building. And a big, giant playground. As you come closer into this house, you get excited because you know it's going to be very illuminating and playful. The moment you arrive, you see all of the children are being called into the big hall. And you are welcomed like a loving guest. And come into this big space where all the children sit around. There are different ages, colorful, all nationalities, and they all are there to hear you. And the moment you're ready to speak, you invite a child that needs your attention today. You also remind yourself and them that you will be back. So everyone will get a chance to meet and to greet and to hug and to play. When the child that wants to speak the most with you will be coming, you will go together into a nice small playroom where you can talk together. You are already going into that room. And the children are allowed to go back to the playground. And you feel and sense that someone is guiding this child to come to your room to speak with you. So prepare the room, have something nice to host, and prepare yourself that whatever will come in that door is welcome, and that you're releasing from yourself all judgments or fears of what you're going to see, who you're going to see, what you're going to hear. No judgment. Just allow it to become what it needs to become, using your imagination, which connects you to the whole world. When the child will come in, observe and ask, what can I do for you? Maybe somebody is already coming through the door, like you will do in any other meeting. Introduce yourself, ask their name, and allow him or her to express themselves. What is their name, and what can you do for them? Now, sometimes they will show you on their body. Sometimes they will tell you. Sometimes they will show you with pictures. Sometimes they will take you somewhere. With our support, allow yourself to have a meaningful connection, knowing that you can help and heal like a master, father, mother, anything that is needed. You can change their circumstance, change their clothes, change their appearance. Just allow them, the child that come forward, to become whatever they need to be. And take your time with following this process. If you feel that your child went through the transformation they needed, you can see them in a new and empowered versions of their choice. Ask, is there anything else we can do for you to truly be free? And maybe they come with a request or an idea or a wish, and see if you can make it happen. Everything is possible. They can turn to become anything in their next chapter, and everything is allowed for the highest and best of everyone. When you're ready, say goodbye. And bring your attention back into your physical body that is in this short meditation. Take a deep breath. Take another big breath. And remember in your mind the experience, the name of this inner child and what happened. Feel your fingers. Move your body. And when you can open your eyes, go and write it down. When you write it down, it will become even more solid. And it will remind you next time about your other and future experiences. Have gratitude for yourself, for the brilliance of the universe in your subconscious and conscious and superconscious mind, your heart, your body, the fact you took the time, and do it again next time when there is an inner child that needs your attention. Kenya Hiratson.